Hi guys, Luton here, and today what I want to showcase for you is a little bit of AI behavior. Now, I think some people don't necessarily understand a lot of the AI behavior in Arma, and that can be, something that's important to know. Now, going into the new map next year to Noah, there's a lot of jungles, a lot of forest, and therefore the AI behavior could be a negative impact there. I still think it's going to be amazing, but at the same time, people are aware of the fact that the AI can so-called see through trees. Now, I recently on the video we made a comment about that, and several people came forward and said, no, AI can't see through trees, and they just it's just an illusion, etc. Well, I thought I would test this out, and you can make your own conclusions from this of what's actually going on. But this is something that has been known for a long time. It's something that a lot of people have spoken about. I'm going to show you really quickly then sort of what I'm just testing right here. So I found like 3 trees in a line, which you would say that once you're standing at here, you can't really see along. Okay, there's no real way of seeing. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to place one blue 4 unit here behind this tree. I'm just going to move him slightly so he's well behind that tree. Now you can see if we go the other side that looking towards him here, we really can't see that unit. Even if we sort of move to the left and the right, you can see just a little bit of the hand. But he's not moving, he's not making any sounds, and he's a reasonable distance away there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to place a CSAT unit down on the ground, same target. I'm going to place it right here. And he is also right behind that tree. Now, when they're in this static state, you can see that they're not doing anything at all. They're both just standing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell this unit right here to just move in a straight line from these trees. I'm just going to tell him to move here and then back again. Straight away he sees that target. So that was a pretty interesting reaction. Now arguably you could say, hey, well, he potentially saw him through that tree. Let's try it again. In the spirit of testing, it's always good to test things out in different ways. I mean, we could try a different set of trees, for example, as well. It's always, you look around, you see, okay, maybe he clipped him a little bit right there. I mean, we could try, for example, okay, this group right here. We put a guy right down there, 4 here. So let's just try this. So put the same unit down. And he's sort of a good line through there. We'll just move him back a little, maybe. There we go. Okay, now we'll move across to here. And so let's just look here. You can see maybe a sliver of him. Then we come to this tree right here. Cannot see a single piece of him. Maybe if we come far to the left, you can see like a millimeter of his hand, but nothing more than that. So let's place another unit down. Right here. Okay, these guys cannot see each other. I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to tell this guy to move here. I'm going to tell him to move back. Now look, this is the very interesting thing. Look how he has immediately gone prone and is pointing directly at that blue 4 target. He has not seen that target has not moved, it has not fired, it has not done anything. But this guy, as soon as he turned and came back and was looking in the direction of that target, he has immediately reacted. And the reason he's immediately reacted is because he is aware now of that target. Even though he has not had any physical stimulus or visual stimulus to actually see that target. He's not heard any sounds, he's not seen any movement, he has got no communication with any other targets. There is nothing to make him aware of that target. And that's what the AI will do to you when you're in the game. Even if you're behind trees and you're behind cover, but notice it'll only be with trees. We've tested this with rocks as well. It works. We'll test it with this rock down here in a minute. But it's very interesting, and both will behave in the same way. This guy right here has not reacted at all because I haven't told him to turn and fire and look towards it. Now the most interesting thing that's going to happen now is to just prove the point. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tell this unit here to move across to another tree. So I'm just going to tell him to go like here. Watch what happens. See, he's turned. And that's how the AI kill you in the game, and that's how brutal they can be. It's incredibly OP, and it's fairly unfair, because you have no ability whatsoever to necessarily know that target is there, but the AI can see that you are there. So they have a massive advantage over you in terms of operating within treescapes. Now, if you're up on a hill, it's a completely different situation. The odds are balanced. You can see them, and although they will see you because they are AI, it's stacked evenly. But in a tree situation, in a forest situation, it's unbearable. And that's why a lot of people get very frustrated with this. Now, let's just test a rock, and I've got one more thing to do after this as well. We need a big rock because it needs to be sort of fully obstructive. Okay, let's try this one right here. So this, I think, should work differently. So I'm going to place a guy down on the ground, auto rifleman. Move him back a little. And then the other side of the rock, right here, I'm going to place a blue foot guy right there. So, two targets can't see each other, about the same distance apart that we had before. I'm just going to tell, I suppose the only thing you could argue is potentially that they're on a slight incline, so I'm just going to move this guy right here. You'll be able to see us. I'm just going to move him away and back again. And then back towards the target. No reaction whatsoever. He just went back to a default. Let's try and find one on a level, just to remove any concern. So let's just go up here. Hilltop, hilltop, hilltop. There's some rocks here up on this hilltop. Okay, this will work perfect. So we'll put them both on the ridgeline. I'm going to put the blue forward target right here. I'm going to put the up forward target right here. So these guys will be able to see each other, not a problem. Just going to move him there. Okay, it's a good level sort of field. If that rock was not there, you could see each other, no problem at all. Very much like the trees. I'm going to tell him to move right here. And back again. No reaction whatsoever. So you see how the trees react very differently to the rocks. But I discovered something very interesting as well with regards to other sort of plant material. Where was it? Here. So this is like the sort of reeds, the phamphos grass. Okay. Now this stuff is very much just, as you can see, it's just your standard plant material. So you would not think that this was especially good cover whatsoever. Let's try it. I'm going to place down another auto rifleman right here. Turn him this way. I'm going to place down another op4 auto rifleman just the other side. And as you can see, look, to us, to our eye, it looks pretty dense. You wouldn't be able to see a target. Let's move him away and back to the target. And back again. And amazingly, they can't see each other. So grass, you're safe. It's fine. Let's try moving this target and see what happens. No reaction from the AI. Now he is facing this direction. Let's see if he continues to fire through the grass when we move him past the grass. Now here's the most interesting thing of all. Look, he's lost the target. He started firing towards that direction, but now he has lost the target. Notice how he's not locked on as he was locked on with the trees. He's sort of searching in this direction. He's not entirely sure where the target is. Let's tell the blue 4 to move through this group of trees, and let's see what happens. And he nailed him. So look at that difference in reaction. If that had been the tree situation, he was locked on before the guy even moved and then pinned him immediately. But in this situation, he lost the target once he was in that grass and, had no bearing to lock onto. Therefore, when the blue guy came in around the corner, he just wiped him out. Really amazing difference there to know. And of course, it should be noted that sort of with buildings and other objects, just for the sake of showing it, like hard targets, let's place another target down. Let's place another target over here. Let's tell him to move away. Back again. Proximity is always slightly a factor as well. I think he's just become aware. There. Let's tell him to move around this corner and see what happens. Wasted him. As I say, proximity is always a factor because, again, when they're close together, there is obviously the cause to say, like, hey, they will be able to hear. But the interesting thing is, as you can see, that they sort of do target one another. Let's try another example. Let's try having a guy facing this door. And then we'll turn to face the door, so he's looking toward the door. Now let's have a blue target. Now I'm going to try and do this so we can see both at once, which is going to be tricky. Right, there we go. Right, so what I'm going to do, watch this target here, and I'm going to tell this guy, first of all, let's just walk him across here. Any reaction from the AI? Yep. Straight away. But notice how he's scanning. See, he's aware. He's not locked on to the target as he was with the tree, and that is the difference with hard cover and that kind of tree cover. See, he's aware, and see, as soon as he hears a movement, he's like, what? So it's interesting to note the difference. Now I'm going to tell this guy to move in on the building. Let's see what happens. See who's going to win. And the AI won. Let's try it again. And potentially that's because the AI was just like more aware. But of course you've got to remember that a human is going to behave slightly differently to the AI, but nonetheless it's still pretty interesting to sort of see the difference. Right, let's place another AI. Now this time I'm just going to have the AI in a more kind of casual, not looking at the door. I'm going to place the blue guy a little way away. I'm going to tell him to come straight on into the building. So let's see what happens. There we go. Right, so this time I'm not going to have him walking around. I'm just going to tell him to come straight on in.
On the way.
So let's see what happens. AI becomes aware inside. He's coming in through a different door. Interesting. He's not coming through where I said. Amazing. Took him out. So it just kind of shows you there's a lot of different behaviors going on with the AI, but it's certain that certain cover behaves in different ways. But as I say, you'll notice that when they're in sort of obscured hard cover like this, they are aware but not necessarily locking onto the target, and that's certainly the situation here. You know, he was more aware, but he wasn't necessarily specifically locking that target. Whereas as you can see with the trees, and I've tested it multiple times and the results were all the same, that every time when you're in a tree situation like that, he didn't even have any movement. Let's remember that is the key thing, that when he was with the trees there was no movement whatsoever. So you know, when they were stationary right here, okay, whilst they are sort of standing, not moving at all, okay, he was not aware of the target. As soon as he started to move, he was definitely aware. Place down a blue full guy, place down a red guy right here. And as he moves away, see the guy starts to lock on. So some pretty interesting differences there, guys. As I say, you know, none of these things are ever sort of set in stone. There's always different situations that are going to occur and nothing's perfect all the time, but it definitely gives an impression of sort of how the AI behave with different parameters, and it gives you some thought about how you should be approaching certain situations when you're fighting against AI. I suppose in many ways this is one thing which goes in the favor of PvP, because, you know, in a PvP situation, obviously it's balanced, it's 50-50. It's a human interaction. So when you see that other human, it's as much, if you can see them, they can see you, if you can hear them, they can hear you, and so on and so on. It's a more balanced approach from that perspective, I guess. But a lot of the time when people are fighting AI, it doesn't matter too much from one respect, because a lot of the time the reason you're playing is not necessarily for that 100% balance. You're playing more for the cooperation of your team, for the logistics, for the teamwork, the support overall, and the coordination involved. And that's the main reason why people play. So these kind of things are maybe frustrating in some situations, but overall it's not the end of the world, because, you know, it would be nice, it would be really fantastic if they didn't interact with trees like that. But again, the thing is, they won't necessarily start lighting you up until they can actually have a clear line of sight onto you, and it's also something to just be very aware of. But I suppose, you know, nonetheless, it is frustrating sometimes. We've had situations where it's been very annoying. We've been trapped amongst some woodland, and the AI do have a clear advantage over you in a woodland situation, because they can just lock onto you, and that's a frustrating thing. But anyway, there we go. So your thoughts below, guys, about how the AI behave. Is that interesting to you guys? Are you a bit surprised about their different interactions? And as I say, when you notice that the reeds, the pampas grass down there, that was particularly interesting. Something that you maybe in game now don't need to worry so much about moving in that grass, because you can see the AI will lose you in the grass, and they won't fire through necessarily when you're moving around there, because they literally can't see you. Thanks for watching, guys. Drop your thoughts below, and I will see you next time.